But welcome again. This is CTE Friday. We're centering on careers in IT. Happy to have you all here to sharing on this experience. We have some amazing panelists. We have some really, really dope moderators here with us. And we have a bunch of folks from different schools that I'm going to shout out in just a minute in regards to those who pre-registered. But I do want to start by just letting you all know a little bit about this CTE Friday experience that we have, that we host out of the Office of College and Career Readiness. This experience is a monthly event that we set up for our students, for our teachers, really for our whole school, Baltimore City Public Schools community, to learn more about the pathways that we have in CTE, to allow you to get access and exposure to professionals who are in these pathways, and to allow our students to ask to share their perspective when it comes to CTE Friday, because we think that's really, really important. So today, we know that we're focusing on careers in IT, and we want everyone to feel comfortable with sharing and asking questions and really engaging in this experience. So that's a little bit about CTE Friday. As far as interaction and functionality, we ask that you have your questions and you put them in the chat. If you have them throughout this experience, also share your thoughts in the chat. That's going to be really, really important. Please continue to keep yourself on mute unless you are called on to speak, just so we can keep the flow going, keep the sound going nice and smooth. So just keep that in mind. So before I push it over to our moderators, I do want to shout out. I want to shout out some schools who are in the space, who have, some of them have emailed me, some of them have registered early. So just want to show them some love. One of those schools is Patterson High School. We have 2 teachers who signed up from Patterson High School. So welcome Patterson, and welcome the students of Patterson as well. We also have, hold on one second. We also have Digital Harbor in the space. Shout out to Digital Harbor. National Academy Foundation, Windsor Hills Elementary and Middle School. Happy to have you here. Polly is in the space as well. We actually had three teachers from Patterson sign up. So Patterson is really, really on it. Digital Harbor High School, happy to have you in the building as well. And then we also have Coppin Academy. So glad to have schools from different parts of our city, different regions in our city represented here. Happy to have you here today. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to our moderators. We have 2 dynamic moderators here with you today. We have Dr. Carlene Carey, who's a CTE manager in our Office of College and Career Readiness. And then we also have my main man. I just met him a couple days ago, but he's my main man already. We have Chris, who's a student in one of our IT pathways, who's going to help lead this experience for us today. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to them so they can introduce themselves and then get our panelists introduced for today.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Dr. Carey. As Albert said, I am a CTE manager in College and Career Readiness. Specifically, I focus on the environmental science and agriculture pathway, as well as Teachers Academy, early childhood, business, and seagoing. And I'm super excited to introduce you guys to Mr. Chris Bard.
Hello, everybody. My name is Chris, junior at Emerson Westside High School. I'm going to be here co-moderating here with the doctor today.
All right. Glad to have everybody on board. I think the next round of very important people that we have to introduce you guys to is our moderators. If you could tell us, or sorry, not our moderators, our panelists. If you could tell us a little bit about who you are and the work that you do, I think we can introduce our panelists in, is it alphabetical order, Chris? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, we can go there from there. Okay.
All right, let's do it.
Organized.
I think we're starting with Alicia and Anisha. Then we're going to Kyle, Naya, and Willie.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Alicia Wade, and I'm from a company called Catalyte. Currently, I develop web applications And my work includes touching everything from the page you see in the browser when you log onto a site to connecting those apps to large servers, servers like Google Cloud and Microsoft Azure Cloud. So that's the work that I do. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Anisha Best. I am an engineer. I currently work for one of the top brokerages in the world. We pretty much build the websites that people trade on. And I'm also the CEO and founder of a new tech startup here in Baltimore, and it's called Baltimore Technology Hub. Great to be here.
So good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. I'm Kyle Wise. I'm the recruitment and admissions manager at Empower, which is a national nonprofit. I am the recruitment manager at the West Baltimore location here in Maryland. And what I do is find young adults between the ages of 18 to 25 who are looking to start IT careers, take them through the application process and help them get to where they want to go.
Hi, everyone. I am Naya Vanterpool. I proudly serve as a project manager at the Digital Harbor Foundation, where I support youth getting introduced and a foot into STEM fields. So we currently employ youth as web development specialists, as sound producers and podcast creators. We have earn and learn opportunities for youth who are interested in learning the design thinking process. And we also have interactive youth who are engaged in interactive media through content development, curriculum writing for nonprofits locally and abroad.
Good morning, I'm James Merritt from Bite Back. We're a local nonprofit, and I am the recruitment and engagement coordinator for Bite Back. My responsibility is to engage people from 16 up to 80 who are interested in getting certifications in Microsoft Office or A+. So I recruit students from all over the city and adults into our programs, and we place our students into employment when they're done with their certifications.
And I guess I'm up last. I'm Professor Willie Sanders. I'm the founder and executive director of a local nonprofit called Pass It On. Our mission is to close the technology skills gap for adults and youth and adults throughout the communities in Baltimore City and the surrounding region. In addition to my role with Pass It On as the executive director, I'm also professionally a professor at Towson University and at University of Maryland's Global Campus. I'm also a veteran IT professional for over 16 years. I've worked for companies like Pearson. I've worked for the federal government. My areas of expertise are in cybersecurity, computer networking, and systems administration.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you guys for sharing your time with us. It sounds like you guys have a variety of deep expertise in a lot of different areas. So we can go ahead and get started with a couple of general questions. Feel free to jump in with your answer when you're ready. So first question, why are IT careers important to you and why should they be important to students?
You can go ahead, Anissa.
Okay, sure. So for me, IT careers are important because it created a pathway for me. I'm from Baltimore City. I come from humble beginnings. I lost my mom at a young age. I know what it's like to come from the communities we come from. And because of tech, when I was getting stipend.
You went on mute, Anissa.
Can you guys hear me? Okay. So tech is extremely important to me. And the reason being is because it created a pathway for me. I come from very humble beginnings. I'm from East Baltimore, down the hill to be exact. And, I know what it's like to grow up without parents. I know what it's like to grow up with parents that are, on drugs and different things. And so for me, it was hard focusing in school and doing different things, but I was interested in tech. And because I was interested in tech, that was something that kind of held me and it created a pathway for me. And so now I'm an engineer. And so, for me, just in closing, tech, there's a place for everybody. It's really just about exploring and just trying to figure out where you fit. But tech is a, career space where there's something for everybody.
It's important to me. I've learned working at Bite Back as I've traveled through the city, and I've seen adults who have been out of the process, so to speak, for years. Maybe have been incarcerated or recovering drug addicts or homeless, and they find a way to find stable employment and get footing in the digital economy by getting certified and being able to be employed. Um, it's also important just for everyday folks to understand how to navigate our digital world. Many people we come in contact with, don't know how to send emails, don't know how to navigate the internet. And if you don't have those skills, basically, you're not able to even find jobs or apply for benefits or uh, locate resources you need in your community. And that's really the first step in getting ahead. Because as we see from COVID, if you're not in the digital space in some way, many people are just getting left behind. So I am happy to be able to help people get employment opportunities and education that can take them not only here, but around the country and in some cases around the world. If once they get their foot in the door, and the digital space is someplace that everybody can get their foot in the door if they get skills and certifications. It's a non-traditional way to get ahead in today's economy.
Yeah, I would just add to that. I completely agree that getting individuals acclimated to the technology and the digital space is essential for our current lives and our future. I got my start in as a professional working as an AmeriCorps Vista, helping adults 40 plus learn computer skills. It was amazing how many obstacles will be set before you if you do not have basic computer skills. That was true 13 years ago when I got started as a professional. That's even more true now. And then as we look off into the future, there's not a single area of our life that isn't going to be touched by, if it isn't already touched by, technology and the digital space. All work is going to be behind a computer if it is not already. My roots are growing up in a farm state. I'm from a small town in South Dakota. And when I look at what farming is becoming and what farming will become, it's not likely that many people will be sitting in tractors harvesting fields. There's going to be a lot more food that it continues to be grown and grown in laboratories. And how many areas of our life is technology going to evolve the way that we do basic business, the way that we keep roofs over our head, food in our belly, and the day-to-day work we do in our jobs. Technology is going to continue to exponentially grow and change the way that we work.
I love the example that Naya just gave about the farming industry. Some of the research that I'm doing as I'm pursuing my doctorate is in an area called IoT, Internet of Things. Is this concept where we don't only rely on traditional computers to do our work now. You have things like smartphones and smart thermostats, basically anything that has a smart in front of it that perform a lot of those tasks for us and gather information for us. And in the farming industry, that's one place where you're seeing it being implemented a lot in order to automate some of the things that people used to have to do manually. And it brings up this interesting point, this interesting concept that IT touches pretty much every industry that you can possibly think of. And that's one of the big reasons that I'm such an advocate for people getting involved in technology, because unlike some industries where you learn a certain skill set, but that skill set that you learn keeps you in that one type of work environment, with IT, you can work in any industry that you want. You could work at Walmart and make $100,000 a year. But then you could take that same skill set and go over and work for the Baltimore Sun, or go over and work for a nonprofit or a hospital system. So it makes you very flexible as far as career opportunities, because every industry uses a computer some way, shape, and form. And you can take those skills that you develop as an IT pro, and you can forklift them and move over to another industry. Like I told you before, I worked in government before. I've worked for the largest education company in the world, Pearson. They pretty much make every test that you could possibly think of. And when you go take your, for my CTE students, I'm a former Baltimore City teacher myself. So I ran a Cisco Networking Academy for a couple of years. So when I used to take my students to go, get A+ certified, we went to a Pearson VUE testing center. So huge company, but IT all the way. But then I can go over to a nonprofit and they still need IT support person. So there will be no shortage of opportunities for you. And a lot of those opportunities, the barrier for entry is a lot lower than some other industries. Like, let's say I want to be a psychologist, right? I have to at least have a 4-year college degree in order to be a psychologist. I got my first IT job before I even finished my associate's degree. I was working on an associate's degree in computer technology. And I got my first gig doing IT as a contractor for the Internal Revenue Service in Washington, D.C., the IRS. And by the time I left there, I was making like $18 an hour, still working on my degree. So opportunities, that's a huge part of it, but opportunities across the board, not just in one space. So it makes you flexible. You want to stay in Baltimore City, plenty of opportunities. You want to go live across the country or maybe even across the on the other side of the world, but still do IT, plenty of opportunities.
I
Just to
wanted
follow
jump-
up on
I'm sorry.
what Professor Sanders said, I have a background in college recruitment. And one of the reasons why I'm in the space that I'm in now is because I know that IT is one of the only fields where you can get ahead and you can start your career and make a very good living wage without having to have a bachelor's degree. I've recruited in Baltimore City, my hometown, the past 5-6 years, and I saw way too many students who are bright, who are full of potential, who are being denied access because of a test score or their GPA. And in my position now, I can offer opportunities to students, and I'm not restricted by a GPA or a test score. So I just know the opportunities there are in not only Baltimore but the DMV region and across the world, and I'd like to offer some of those opportunities.
So I just want to piggyback on some of the great things that were already said. This really is an example of my worlds colliding. Like Anissa, I'm a Baltimore native. I actually am from over west. And I was also a Baltimore City public school teacher for 16 years. I taught at Digital Harbor for a little while. But when I graduated from Coppin, that wasn't my first career. Software development is actually my fourth career. I was a scientist, then a teacher. Then I spent a year as a crime scene technician for Baltimore City Police Department. And then I went back to teaching and then decided that I would finally pursue my passion for the IT industry, particularly software development. And the IT industry touched absolutely every career pursuit that I've ever had. And like Ms. Saunders was saying, he mentioned that the startup is low. I spent 2 years training and was able to land a very good position. Got right back to the salary I was making as a school teacher after 16 years of teaching. 2.5 years later, exceeded that salary. So there's a lot of opportunities there. They mentioned that, the growth, I don't feel limited or restricted in any way whatsoever. Transitioning to remote work during our current situation was absolutely seamless. There's just a lot of opportunity there. And I'm absolutely passionate about upskilling members of our community who are transitioning back into the workforce. As another panelist said, I've actually sat with lobbyists in DC at the White House, talking to them about funding upskilling opportunities because the college pathway might not be for everyone. So this really is very, very passionate and dear to my heart.
Okay. That's great answers there, sir. Okay, so the next question will be describe your educational and professional journey to getting into your current position.
Can I jump on this one?
Yep. Go ahead.
All right. So I have a non-traditional pathway. That's why I really wanted to jump on this question. So, started out in high school. I knew I wanted to do something with computers. My high school at the time, I'm originally from PG County. My high school at the time didn't have anything technology related. So I came into college code. And what happened is the university I was attending only had computer science at the time. That was the only, computer related degree program that they had. And they dropped me in this computer science program. And I'm surrounded about, I didn't go to a HBCU. So a lot of my counterparts weren't people that looked like me. So I get dropped into this class with students from maybe around the region who had high schools who taught, computer science and computer programming, and the instructor is teaching to their level, and all the stuff is kind of going over my head. And that kind of discouraged me. So I got to the point eventually where I actually dropped out of college. But after spending some time in that real world, seeing how tough it is out there without some type of training and education, I came running back. But I had the benefit of getting involved in a program out of DC, and I'm about to give James a shout out because that program was actually Bite Back. So I'm actually a Bite Back graduate. Bite Back, they originally started as a nonprofit in DC. My mom told me about it. I went there, took their entry exam, and I got accepted into their internship program. And I got introduced to another area of technology called computer networking. So when you think about technology, don't think about it as this one thing, because I know a lot of people who aren't indoctrinated into the technology field like we are might have this one idea of what it means to be a computer professional, a technology professional. But there's so many different areas that you can go in. If you never even really want to touch technology, but maybe you want to deal with that technology environment, but you're like more of a business person, there's some place for you. You want to be a lawyer, you could be a technology lawyer if you want to. There's so many different avenues to go up in technology. You just got to find a right fit for yourself if that's what you want to do. So my fit was networking because I'm a kind of tactile person. I like to do stuff with my hands. Computer programming really didn't suit that for me. But when they put me in front of a router and a switch and I got to pull wires and configure things, that checked all the boxes for me. And then from taking part in that program, I was able to get back into school. And then that's where I finally, I got some training under my belt to be able to have the confidence to go out and to just put my resume out there and apply for positions, because you never know. You never know who's going to give you a shot. Like I said, I was working on my associate's degree when I went back to school, and I started putting my resume out there. I got some encouragement from my then girlfriend, who is now my wife. She said, the worst they're going to say is no. Send it out there, put it out there. The worst they're going to tell you is no. And I got a bunch of no's, but that one yes is the only yes that counted. And after I got that one yes, then all of these other companies started to reach out to me, because once that one company takes a chance on you, it provides you that opportunity and that credibility to keep moving forward. And once you get that momentum going, don't stop it. Don't get into, that career path. Like I got my gig at the IRS. I could have stayed stationary, but what I would do is in my downtime, I would continue studying, and I would look for IT certifications. And this is another big benefit of IT over a lot of other industries. Some other industries, you got to get a whole nother degree in order to move up the ladder. Or maybe you have to go, get a certificate program from a college where you take like 4 or 5 different classes and then get this piece of paper, and then that lets you move up the ladder. With IT, you could go buy a book offline from Amazon, or go on YouTube and watch a video series, take a certification test, and then increase your salary by like $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. I know, because I've done it before. It's the knowledge out there is so available to you. There's so many resources out there for technology for you to take advantage of. So that's what I did. I didn't stay stationary. Well, after I got that gig, I kept studying. I currently have over 25 professional IT certifications. So because I know the benefit of them. So you keep grinding, and then that helps you track out your pathway. And then as you get a better feel for what that the IT environment consists of, then it'll help you kind of map out your route to where you eventually wanted to be. I always knew I wanted to be a professor. So I started mapping out that route. What certification do I need to take next? What degree do I need to go after? You have a plan, you write that plan down, you put it up on your wall somewhere, and then you backtrack and you figure out, how am I going to get from point A to this eventual goal, point B? The reason I'm looking over here to the side is because I have my goals right here on the side of the wall. I'm looking at my goals. My goal is to be Dr. Sanders by the end of this year, and I'm still working towards that, and I got my path laid out. That's what I want each one of you to do. You're never too young to set goals. You're never too young to map that plan out right now, because it's things that you can do right now in high school that can set you up to make your own scholarship. You don't have to worry about no schools giving you a scholarship. When I went back to school, I didn't have to take out no loans. Every company I worked for paid for one of my degrees. Got my associate's degree finished paying for from the company I was working with, the IRS. Moved to another company, got my bachelor's degree paid for on their dime. Got my master's degree and most of my doctorate degree paid for by companies I work for. Didn't have to rely on, filling out all these applications for and writing all these essays to get scholarships. No, IT. Most companies who have IT departments, they're willing to invest in you because they know there's not a lot of people like you out there who are willing to, go that extra mile to learn this valuable skill set that's going to support their organization. So what they'll do is they'll say, you know what? It's cheaper for me to keep this good person. I'm gonna just pay them so they can keep going to school and keep getting better and better and better. So you take advantage of that. You get your school paid for. You get your certifications paid for by them, but you still keep growing. You still keep studying, and then when it's time for you to make your next move on that pathway that you wrote out, that you charted out, you make your move. I'm sorry, I get on my soapbox.
So let me jump in. And so like Willie, my path to how I became an engineer is very non-traditional. And so again, like I told you guys, I went through a lot growing up and I struggled a lot. And so I dropped out of high school. I dropped out of school in the 8th grade. And when I dropped out of school in the 8th grade, I was done with school. I was into IT, but I just wasn't interested in going back. And so what I did is I went to Job Corps and I got my GED. And when I came back with my GED, I was 16 and I was on this path of trying to make something of myself. And so I said to myself, what am I interested in? And around that time, it was ITT Tech. And so I went to ITT Tech for a year. I had to drop out after at 17 because I couldn't afford to go. It was like $15,000 a year. And so around that time, I wanted to keep moving forward with the tech. And so I applied to college. And I applied to Towson University to try and study computer information systems. And so I applied and I got accepted. And when I got accepted, again, I had never been to high school. I didn't do 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade. All I had was my GED. But when given the opportunity, I took advantage of it. And so I did 4 years at Towson University. And senior year, a lot of the issues that we face, some students might face now with finances and being able to go to school, I had to drop out senior year because I couldn't afford to go anymore if my financial aid had ran out. And so around that time, just going back to the professional piece, I dropped out. I was working at AT&T. And so I was at AT&T. I was doing customer service. It was a little techie. I was able to get hands-on with the new iPhones and it was fine. But I wanted to do more with tech. I felt as though I was a pawn. And so around that time, I had heard about a program that was coming to Baltimore, and it was called Empower. And Kyle, I'm shouting you guys out. And so Empower was a brand new program by Robert F. Smith. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, the billionaire who paid off the student debts at Morehouse. And so I took advantage of this program. I didn't know what it was. And it was, I think around that time, it was 13 weeks. And it was hard work. You know, we had to sit there, we had to focus, we had to strive, we had to show up with the button ups and the blazers and, you know, the professional wear, but it helped to shape and mold me. And so what happened after that was, you know, I had gotten my certification. They helped me train to get my certification. And so I got my certification, my A+, and I got an internship at TD Ameritrade. And so, you know, I went in there as an intern. My manager told me that first day, he said, hey, I can't guarantee you a job here, but I can help prepare you for an IT career. And so in being in that space, I didn't necessarily, I wanted to get into cybersecurity, but that was the opportunity that was available to me. And so I just took advantage of it. I learned about the stock market. I learned about coding. I can code now. And so now I'm in this space, you know, where, you know, and so internship ended, they offered me a full-time job. You know, I wanted $50,000. You know, I came from making 40,000. I wanted 50,000. They started me off at $60,000, you know, and now I'm at the point where I'm, you know, a little over 100,000. And so, you know, the point I'm trying to make is that I took advantage of what was available to me. And from that information, I was able to make something for myself. And so again, and just going back to Baltimore Tech Hub, you know, the inspiration for Baltimore Tech Hub is because again, you know, to Willie's point, in tech, there's something for everybody. And it's important for our communities, you guys get exposure to drones, to Internet of Things, to 3D printing, to logo and animation. And so these are the things that we're going to be working on. But, you know, again, you guys have to be open to the opportunities, take advantage of them. And when you get in, work hard, because I don't know if anyone has spoken to it, but IT is very competitive as well. And so you guys got to make sure that you bring your A game. And if you bring your A game, you will be rewarded. And so again, in just closing, I'm at TD Ameritrade, and no, I do not have my degree. Last year, I went back for my degree, and I'm going to finish it this year in cybersecurity. And you know, I have Google reaching out to me now to try to get me as a program manager, and I don't have my degree. And so, you know, again, and working hard and taking advantage of opportunities, it'll get you far. Sorry if I was rapping.
So my background is in public relations and marketing. So I don't have an IT background. My background is more in nonprofit, the nonprofit arena. But I went to school here in Baltimore, and I did go to college. But I do have a passion for helping people, especially young people in Baltimore. And one thing I can just add to everyone's tech discussion, or this tech discussion, is that I've learned in working with people who have been underserved and kind of on the other side of the digital divide, that in technology, just getting your foot in the door is really the most important part. So Willie already spoke to Bite Back, Anissa spoke to Empower, and there are other resources around as well, organizations that will kind of get you in the door to tech. And once you're in the door, as they both mentioned, you can easily and quickly elevate your career. So when I work with adults, mostly adults over 25, but we work with students to 16 and up. One thing I really like to encourage all of them to do is just remove the mystique of IT. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be scared of it. There are a lot of different aspects of it. Most of us have the hands-on. We know we use computers every day. We know we need them, but some people are intimidated by going to the next step. So I just encourage all of you at this age just to get your feet wet in some arena of technology, if that's what you're interested in, whether it's entry level, a nonprofit, or whether it's in classes. Just know that getting your feet wet will encourage you and give you the confidence to move on to the next step. As Willie mentioned, and as Anissa mentioned, the entry point is very low. You know, once you get involved, the sky's the limit. So I would just encourage all of you to take advantage of any type of programs that just give you exposure to some type of IT, whether it's programming or help desk or just learning the skills to navigate. Once you get involved in that way, you'll see the benefits and you'll see the possibilities, and it'll remove the taboo of you don't have to be a computer geek. You don't have to be 100% genius to become valuable in IT. They'll teach you the skills, and we teach students who are barely literate, who take a tab test and aren't, maybe at a 6th grade level. And we teach them the skills to become certified in A+, ITF, And those are very critical skills. And once they get that, they see that the possibilities are endless, and they get the confidence to keep moving and moving and moving. So I would just encourage all of you not to be afraid of what it looks like, what a tech person looks like, or how hard it is to get involved. Just get your feet wet. And once you get your foot in the door, you'll see that the possibilities are really at your fingertips.
If unless anybody else wants to jump in, I want to piggyback on something that James said real quick about getting your feet wet, right? So a lot of times when people think of getting their feet wet, they think about, oh, I got to have a job or internship or something like that. But in IT, because remember, it basically touches every industry that you can think of, whether it's a for-profit or even a nonprofit, they all have IT. And a lot of those organizations also have opportunities and they have a need for volunteers. So volunteerism is a really good way for somebody with no experience to get their feet wet. You go to a church, your church has IT. Think about how churches are operating now. They have to move online. Some of their buildings are closed. So now they need somebody to help them with their website. They need somebody to help them with broadcasting their sermons. They need all of these technical things that they might not be able to do, or people in their community might not be able to do. So they rely on volunteers. It's a benefit for them because by getting a volunteer, now they don't have to spend any money, but at the same time, you're developing a technical skill that you can then turn into a career later on. So think about that. Think about, organizations that you're already associated with, community centers, like I said, religious institutions, other organizations, for-profit or nonprofit. Also, don't be afraid to reach out to for-profit companies. You'd be surprised how many for-profit companies take on high school interns, for like summer work. My organization, we've taken on high school interns for some work. We actually have an opportunity now that I'll share at the end of the meeting, where I'm currently looking for 7 junior web developers for a project that we're working on in Northwest Baltimore. So there's a lot of organizations who are willing to take on high school students and mentor them and then help them on their path to becoming IT professionals. And then even beyond organizations, there's a lot of individuals who are willing to be your mentors. So if you know somebody who works in IT, don't be scared to ask them, hey, I'm an IT student. I think I want to be an IT professional when I get older, when I graduate from high school. Can you tell me a little bit about what you do, or maybe show me some of the things that you do? Sort of like what we're doing now, but you can engage people yourself. Don't be afraid to ask. Most IT people are more than happy to share a little bit of what they know, because they'll just be flattered that you asked them. So don't be afraid to ask, get that knowledge, find volunteer opportunities, and that'll be a good way to build up your skills. And then when you build those skills, start to develop a resume. That's super important. Even as a high school student, develop a resume. Even if you're not doing things as a professional and getting paid for it, you still can put those skill sets on your resume because they're still valuable. There's still something that maybe a company would be willing to pay you for at some point in time.
I just wanted to jump in real quick and just tell the students how I actually got into this industry without going through all my entire educational background, because listening to, these awesome other panelists, I'm thinking that, I'm pretty sure I got into the IT industry much later in life than a lot of other folks. Like I said, this is career number 4 for me. So when I decided I want to pursue that, going to a boot camp that cost $20,000 just wasn't an option for me, because it didn't come with the kind of security for a job opportunity that I needed. I mean, married, kids, mortgage, that kind of thing. So I needed something secure if I was going to leave the teaching industry to pursue another career opportunity. And going back to school seemed like it was going to take too long for me. I wanted it now. And so when I found Catalyte, it really was a perfect opportunity for me. I went to their website, they had an online screener that uses artificial intelligence to kind of see if you would be a good fit for a career in software development. I'm not going to reveal all the magic and the data analytics behind how that works, that particular screener, but it was very challenging. I pushed through it. It took me about an hour to get through. And next thing I know, they were contacting me about coming in to participate in a 4 to 5 month full day, full-time training program. At that time, it was unpaid. And so I had to rely on my savings and the support of my husband to help me navigate that unpaid period of training. But then after being successful with that, I went directly into a paid internship that lasted 2 years. And I was only making about 30 something thousand at that time, which was a big pay cut coming from being a teacher, but I learned so much. I worked with amazing technology and clients during that time. Currently, the client I'm working with is Kroger, the supermarket chain. And so I just wanted to put that out there that there are opportunities, like they were talking about the low entry points. Like I did not have to go back to school to get into this new career and into this industry. For me, it was some training and then learning on the job, a paid apprenticeship. So yeah, and I really want to encourage not just the young men out there, but particularly the young ladies out there, because oftentimes in my spaces, I'm a bit of a unicorn, not just because I'm of color, but also because I'm a female. And then when you add to the fact that I'm over 35, I'm not going to tell you how far over, but I'm over, I'm over 35. It's you just don't see a lot of people like me. And so I love to see the representation. And I just wanted to add that extra bit of encouragement that no matter where you are right now, you really can get started with this.
Thank you so much, Alicia. I think the Black Girls Code organization is one of the national ones that specifically focuses on making sure you're not a unicorn. And we have some of our Black and brown girls in the room with you, right? But we're having a wonderful conversation. I want to thank you guys for, oh my gosh, sharing all of this rich information and these resources. But for the sake of time, can you describe what are some of the opportunities that your organization has currently for students who are on the webinar today?
I just want to jump in real fast.
Yeah, I can jump in there.
I'm sorry. I was just really quick. I was just going to say they can literally go to www.catalyte.io and they can take the online screener whenever they like. Take an hour of your time and take the screener, and you just need to be 18 or older.
One of the things that I did want to share at the last section, just really briefly, for those who are unsure whether or not they want to be on the hardware side, the software side, be aware that there are architects, there are builders, there are operators, just as Mr. Sanders was saying, just as Mr. Merritt was saying, that you can find yourself in many different aspects of IT. One of the things I would encourage each of you to do is to know Excel. No Google Sheets. Entire businesses, entire data universes, all architecture is built on an Excel spreadsheet. So no Excel, it will help you out. Unless you get into programming and coding, and that's an entire universe of its own. Ongoing, as we have funding to be able to employ youth, we encourage youth to share their resumes with us, be within our community, attend our pop-up events, so that when the opportunities do open up, you can apply. If you are intending to work this summer, please do keep an eye out for YouthWorks. Make sure you apply and are eligible to work through YouthWorks this summer. We will have 1,000 roles open for to youth on the design thinking process. That's how you can be a critical problem solver, and it's a design process that is used at Google, at IBM, at many of the large tech employers. So we will have a earn and learn opportunity where design thinking is going to be introduced to you through a project-based experience. And then for those educators who are on the call, if you would like an exploration opportunity for your class, we are offering a free 3D printing field trip. We have a limited number of seats. Actually, Miss Shamera on the call is going to be reaching out to some of you to share more.
And really quickly for all the tech experts, could you kind of mention the names of a certification and what it actually does? Because when I work with people every day, I know they kind of say, I want to be in IT, but what does this certification do and what will they actually do?
So, so just really quick, and to your point, yeah, speak to the certifications I have. But so Baltimore Technology Hub is a brand new tech startup. We're just getting started. It was just started in the pandemic, but you can expect to see, you can follow us at baltimoretech.hub on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn is super powerful. I have some thoughts on that. I'll share them for later. But we're going to be doing a lot of hands-on pop-up shop workshop type situations where you can get real skills hands-on that you can take and turn into entrepreneurial opportunities. You can take and put on your resume. You can take and, you know, and further your IT career. And so again, we're going to be doing things around IoT. We're going to be doing things with drones, 3D printing. And so again, you guys take advantage of all of these organizations. We're not competing. We all have something to offer. You just have to kind of figure out where you want to go with it. And going back to the certifications, I have my A+ certification. I have my Security Plus. So the A+ is just more so, it certifies you that you understand the basics of computers, software and hardware. The Security Plus cert is more so, it's an entry-level certification focused on cybersecurity fundamentals. And so having that certification going into cybersecurity, it's kind of a must, and it'll definitely help to kind of get your foot in the door.
I'm gonna jump in next. In this region that we're living in, you guys are super beneficial. There's a lot of government agencies. There's a lot of companies who support the federal government, and they need IT people desperately. There's actually a big deficit of people versus IT jobs. They got all these IT jobs, but not people qualified to fill them. So that puts you guys in a really good position, even at your age, if you start getting the right certifications under your belt. I always encourage students to get what we kind of in the IT field refers to as like the trifecta. That's the A+, Net+, Security Plus. Those are all CompTIA certifications. Some certifications are hosted or provided by these nonprofit organizations like CompTIA. There's another one called ISC Squared. There's another one called eCouncil. But then you also have what you call your vendor specific certifications. Those are ones that are sponsored by for-profit companies, and they're geared more towards teaching you the tools that they've made. Think of like your Microsoft certifications, or for some of my CTE folks here, your Cisco certifications. All those are created specifically to teach you one company's technology, whereas the nonprofit ones teach you the technology from a broader perspective. So in saying that, the CompTIA is one of those nonprofits. So they teach you that broad scope of technology. And if you get the A+, like Anisha was saying, that's going to give you your foundation for how to work with a computer and the software that runs on a computer on an individual basis. When you move up to the next level and you get that Network Plus, that teaches you now how to get that computer you learned about. It teaches you how to get those computers to start talking to each other, and how to the fundamentals of how to secure that, how to configure those. That's a job field in and of itself. Like I said, networking is where I made my entry into IT, huge field. But then a step up from that is the security. So now that you notice how to manage this one computer, you know how to get them talking together. Now you can figure out, how am I going to protect these computers as they're talking on these big worldwide networks? And with those three, you have the solid core foundation for pretty much any other area you want to branch off into in technology. Whether it's software, the software side, the hardware side, like Naya was saying, or even other areas where you're not actually touching technology, but maybe you're dealing more with policies, you're dealing more with helping being a manager or running a team, things like that. if you have that core foundation, it gives you enough technical expertise to again, branch out in any direction that you want to go into. And then it can take you, if you want to stay on the technical side, there's whole certification tracks that can take you to be an expert in the technical side. There's also different certification tracks that you can take to build your expertise on the non-technical side as like management or a supporter. One good way to kind of map that out is by utilizing roadmaps. A lot of organizations create what they call certification roadmaps. When you get I'll probably throw a link down there, but one of the best certification roadmaps I've seen is the CompTIA roadmap, because they don't only focus on their certifications, they tell you about everybody's certifications. You can just download that roadmap off the internet. I'm gonna drop the link in there in a second, but you literally on one side of the roadmap have different types of jobs in IT, and on the other side of the roadmap, they tell you the starting point, and then they show you following a line how to get from point A to point B. So remember that roadmap I told you about I keep on my wall? It started from one of these career roadmaps. They have them for cybersecurity, they have them for general IT. You just gotta do some Googling around to find them. But
we
that
in the chat, we definitely don't want to lose that.
all right.
Please throw that in the chat.
So I'm gonna throw that in the chat. But having one of those career roadmaps is super helpful in helping you map out your plan.
Thank you so much for that. I do want to shift really quickly, just for the sake of time. Thank you so much for that information. I do want to throw it over to Kyle from Empower, just to share a little bit about the Pre-Apprenticeship Program that we're partnering with our seniors.
Oh, yes, thanks, Albert. So typically, Empower would only be open to individuals between the ages of 18 to 25 who already have obtained their high school diploma or GED. But last week, we actually launched a pre-apprenticeship program specifically for Baltimore City Public School students to be able to enroll in the program early in their senior year, starting February 22nd. And they would complete the 16-week virtual training throughout this next 4 months, and they would finish in June, so about June 14th. So what the goal would be is for you to learn all about hardware, software, networking. We also touch on some programming and coding. And you'd also, you'd be graduating with your high school diploma, and we'd also train you and pay for you to get your IT fundamental certification, as well as the A+, the CompTIA A+ certification. So it's a pilot program. We're looking for about 10 students, but it's a really great opportunity for anyone who wants to get that training, get those certifications, and jumpstart their career as soon as graduate.
Thank you for that, Kyle. And the link for that is right in the chat box. I know there's a lot of links in the chat box. Just want to remind everyone that we will be sending an email out to all of our guests today. So don't worry about I really wanted that link. Somebody posted something. I can't find it. I can't scroll to get to it. Don't worry. Don't panic. We'll make sure that we send you an email with all of this information.
And Albert, just one last thing, and I know we're super short on time. LinkedIn, this is something that needs to be, especially for the high school seniors. LinkedIn is pretty much your resume. When an employer goes to look at your profile, they're looking on Instagram, Facebook, and they're looking on LinkedIn. And so even if you just have one job, you want to get on there, get your picture, put your role, and then start to build up your LinkedIn. That's going to be super beneficial as you start your career. And if anyone wants to follow me, again, my name is Anisha Best, and I'm very active on LinkedIn.
I just wanted to jump in real fast and say, unlike Anissa and Willie, I think I sit more solidly on the software development side. I really don't have much background in the networking aspect of things. Whatever I know about it, I've learned just on the fly as I've been going the last 2.5 years. But on the software development side, I've coded in a lot of languages. And so for me, the certifications that would be important would be in any particular language. So right now I'm working on my Java certification, but I just wanted to put it out there to the students that you don't really need anything formal for that. You really can take a free online course in any one of these languages and then just start working on a certification in it. And even something like that can help you land a job before you've even finished a program or something like that. So you don't have to wait for a formal process, and you can do it simultaneously while you're in a program with Empower or a program that Mr. Vanderpool mentioned. You can do all of that at the same time, work on learning a different language and getting certified in that.
Thank you so much for that, Alicia. I want to first and foremost say thank you so much to our moderators. Let's give them a round of applause wherever you are. Y'all did a wonderful job. To our panelists who dropped so many jewels, gave y'all so much knowledge. I hope that you took some notes on paper in your brain. I hope you were scrolling the chat and picking up on the links because they dropped so much information on us today. I know we have about a minute to go, but we might just go over just a couple of minutes just because I want to share some important information with you all before we head out today.
You went on mute, Albert.
See the mute.
I keep wanting to add people in, and then it keeps me. I apologize. It's me.
Okay. It's all good. So just want to remind people that everything is going to be emailed to you. So no worries if you missed something that's in the chat. We're going to make sure you get that. Secondly, we do want you to complete the survey. Thank you to Shamara for posting the survey multiple times throughout this event. Please, please, please complete the survey. Shamara, if you can post it one more time just so people can see it, because we want your feedback and we want your thoughts. We want to know how you felt like this went. So we want you to be honest in completing that. I want to share something with you real quick because we have what's called Lab Wednesday. Every Wednesday where we have professional development experiences for our students. And we would love your input on what the topic should be for some of the Lab Wednesdays moving forward. So if you got your phone, you can quickly, or you can do it on your computer or wherever, go to menti.com and put in this code right here at the top of your screen. I'm just going to give a few seconds for folks to put that in, and then we'll show you the selections in a moment. Here we go. All right, so some of the topics people have already started selecting. People are interested in personal and professional planning, about 18%. Critical thinking and decision making is tied with organizational skills. All right, it's still evolving, it's still changing. So you can see real time what you and others are interested in engaging in for our Lab Wednesday experiences. We're going to take about another 30 seconds or so for people to put in their selections. You can actually choose more than one as well. So if you're like, I'm with that one, but I also think about that one as well, you can do that. Autonomy and ownership of learning just showed up on the results. And you'll have access to this for, I think, at least another 24 hours. So even if, I don't know, maybe you're having some tech issues and can't quite get to it right now, you'll have another day to do that. All right, I'm gonna take 10 more seconds, then I'm gonna stop sharing. Looks like organizational skills is slightly in the lead right now with 29%. Wow, I'm so glad we did this. We were so curious about what our students thought, would be a good direction we would go in for our Lab Wednesdays, and now we see right in front of us what your thoughts are. And if it's something on here that you're like, I wasn't really feeling any of these, you can feel free to maybe throw that in a chat or even respond to the follow-up email I send you if there's a different topic you have in mind. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing this. Again, thank you all so much for participating in this. Just wanna make sure that I get to every last thing. We already talked about the survey. We already showed the Lab Wednesday. Already let you know that the email is coming soon. Already thanked everybody for being here, including our students and our teachers. How can I forget about you all? Thank you all again for being here, because we tried to get to some of the questions. We could have easily made this 2 hours long because there was so much information being shared. And I know folks might feel like they wanted more to share. So we'll see you on February the 12th. Shamara, can you put the link in the chat again for February the 12th? We're going to be having our CTE Friday on entrepreneurship. So if you're interested in starting a business, or you already have a business and you trying to get it booming, you're trying to get more dollars, you're trying to make it grow, maybe you're even trying to hire people, we're going to have entrepreneurs from various industries on February the 12th at 9 a.m. In order for you to come, please make sure that you register. We'll also send you information about it in the follow-up email as well. I think that's all I have to share with you all today. I know folks have to go. Enjoy the rest of your day and be safe out there.